Hey, it's Doris with Holiday Books, and we're here for our Friday reads. Yeah, in the car with bad lighting. You know it's wintertime in the South. Anyway, let's just jump in. If you have been watching Nonfiction November this month and are thinking, wow, I need to check out this nonfiction thing, I've got some reads for you here. I had the best time reading all of these books. I didn't get to all of the nonfiction that I wanted to this month. I just had some snags, but the half that I did get to was excellent. So let me just jump in here. The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. This was great. I buddy read this with Heidi and Jacqueline, and we all really enjoyed it. This has a dual storyline of the creation of the World's Fair in Chicago in 1893 and a serial killer, H.H. Holmes, who lived there and took advantage of that chaotic atmosphere to swindle and kill lots of people. So yeah, I don't feel like I need to say too much about this book because it is so well known on BookTube and off of BookTube. Everybody seems to know about this book. But again, this is one of those nonfictions that I really enjoy for the narrative nonfiction aspect, as well as the ability to just thread in so many different stories and details to tell this tale. Erik Larson is a brilliant storyteller. I know this is nonfiction, but his pacing is excellent. He just keeps you flipping, swinging between the two storylines. He knows when to go where with his story, and he talks about all the architects in their lives and this Holmes guy and the creepy things that he has done, but also you get into some landscape architecture and some economy at the time, politics, pop culture, new technology, and new products. It's all in the details as he's describing these scenes. Really excellent. I want to read all of Erik Larson's works. I've heard they're all fabulous. So far I've read this one and Isaac Storm, and total agreement. Then next up, I have my Mary Stewart for the month, which was actually 2 short stories this time around. We have The Wind Off the Small Isles and The Lost One. This one was not quite as good as normal. The first short story I liked fairly well. The second one was pretty much a dud for me, so I wouldn't suggest this one unless you're reading all the Mary Stewarts and have become a diehard fan like I have. But yeah, it was okay. A lot of people have asked me recently about these covers, and I think these are just the ones that are in print now. I get mine off Book Depository, and they haven't changed out the thumbnails. So when you go to look for them on Book Depository, you'll see like the pastel covers with like 50s housewives on them. But when you order them, you'll actually get these vintage travel postcard art looking covers. So yeah, next month is 9 Coaches Waiting, and I hear that is one of the top contenders for the top spot. So stay tuned for that. Okay, then back to nonfiction. Oh my gosh. I read this with Sean, the book maniac. He actually suggested it. I'm so glad he did. I just love Zora Neale Hurston, and Sean does as well. 5-star read. This was Wrapped in Rainbows by Valerie Boyd. You could really tell that Valerie Boyd also loves Zora Neale Hurston. She's told her story so well, and it was so heartfelt. And she tells a lot of it through Zora's words. So, pulling from Zora's autobiography and letters that she wrote to friends and such. And it just, oh, it's beautiful. Sean and I read this a chapter a day, and that was a really good pace. There was 35 chapters, I think. That was a really good pace to just get a little glimpse and talk about it each day. Because you really we just want to spend time with Zora. She is just a joy-filled person. I loved her outlook on life. I loved her approach to life and the way she just went out there and tackled it. And the first chunk of this book, a lot of it is set during the Harlem Renaissance, which also captivated me. So I'm really going to focus on that with Sean again during February for Black History Month. So we are going to do a dual review on this book. So I will get some more thoughts together for that. But excellent, excellent. Then back to the fiction side of things, we have The Path of Daggers by Robert Jordan. This is a fantasy series that I started reading back in my 20s, which was a while ago. This one, I believe, was written in 98. So I guess the first few were written in the late 80s, early to mid 90s. But it doesn't feel dated at all. I mean, it's fantasy. Why would it? But I'm loving it. I'm thankful to Kate Howe that she got me back into it. Like I said, it's been like, I don't know, 20 years since I read them. This one is number 8 in a 14-book series. So it's quite a commitment. I remember really being captivated by the characters at the beginning of the story because they're young and they're living in the same little village, and it just really wraps you up in that story and their friendships and personalities. It's been a little bit tough to get back in, but I'm getting there and really enjoyed it. So yeah, I don't have much to say. I do like the fact that there are a lot of strong women in this, both good guys and bad guys. I really enjoy reading the women's storylines the most in here. And yeah, but not much else I want to say because, like I said, it's book number 8. So yeah, you got to start at the beginning if you're interested, but there you go. Okay, and then back to nonfiction. And this one may be the favorite. It's going to be tough between this one and Zora, but I think this book is so important. Friday Night Lights by H.G. Bissinger. Wow. So this book is about high school football in Texas. It is way, way over the top. Way over the top. We're talking, when you get into the playoffs, you commission private jets to take you to the games. Yeah, crazy, manic. But Bissinger captivated the South that I grew up in so well. Wow. This book is set in 1988, which is the year I graduated from high school. And I just felt like I was back home. I mean, football wasn't nearly so manic in Florida, but it was the center point of the community in the fall every year. I grew up on football, so I'm just feeling very nostalgic. But that's not why it's so important. This book is so important because Bissinger tells it like it is. This is an excellent book on sociology. It encapsulates racism in the South the way it really was in 1988. You read it and you think about recent years and the changes that have gone on, and then what's happening now, and this racism bubbling back to the surface in such force. And you know, it was percolating underneath the surface in these past years. But oh my gosh, I'm just rambling here, but This book captured my attention. I think if you want to know what it's really like, this is the book. He pulls no punches. He's really good. I know he writes it in third person with a lot of, you know, dialogue that he's recorded. So it's not written exactly in the voice of the characters, but he brings these characters to life. They're not characters, they're real people. And he tells the story with their voices. You really know who they are. Really. The good, the bad, and the really ugly. Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent book. It's not easy to read in points. It's going to make you really mad in points. If you didn't grow up with American football, there are going to be a few scenes that are going to be extremely boring, but they don't last very long. To me, there are several scenes where he does play-by-plays like you're actually listening to the sporting event as it's playing out, and it is just like Southern poetry. I feel like a complete dork even admitting this, but I teared up a couple times as he was doing the football play-by-plays at the last game. It was just so got me. But anyway, I highly recommend this. I really do. It's so much more than you would think by looking at the cover. Yeah. Okay, and then another favorite. I guess there are 3 contenders for the favorite nonfiction spot this month. They were just also excellent. But No Time to Spare by Ursula K. Le Guin, Thinking About What Matters. I have never read anything by Ursula K. Le Guin prior to this. I do not read a lot of science fiction. I have on occasion. I really prefer the fantasy side of things, but I intend to remedy this. I'm going to read more of Ursula K. Le Guin because this is so good. This woman is so very intelligent and so wise. I love this. So she started a blog in her 80s. I know, what a woman. She just decided, I'm going to start a blog, and she did. So whenever she had something to say, something on her mind, she would just make these blog entries. So they're just little essays on a variety of topics. So it's divided into 4 sections. The first section is going over 80. So it's not about aging, it's about being old, and she makes that distinction. And so those essays are just so interesting and spot on. Then the second one is the lit biz. So she talks a little more about being a writer and an author and the literary business. And then the third section is trying to make sense of it. And these are all just a variety of topics that have been on her mind. There's one on anger, and it really resonates with the current political scene. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. There's one earlier in the book. I think it's in the lit biz section. She talks about John Steinbeck. My heart skipped a beat. And the one about the F-bomb from my last video, stellar. It's a great book. And then the last section is rewards. And then between each section, she's got these little interludes about Pard the cat, which is the last cat that she had when she was in her 80s before she passed away. She passed away, is it earlier this year or last year sometime? But anyway, yes, highly recommend this. I absolutely love it. She is just, wow, blows my mind. She's that good. So yeah, if you have a book to recommend me by Ursula K. Le Guin, please do below. As I said, I prefer the more fantasy aspect. So fantasy leaning books by Ursula K. Le Guin. And with science fiction, I like the more plaguey biology type stuff. I really like the planetary stuff and the techie stuff. I don't enjoy as much, but I'm willing to read it if I need to, if it's fabulous. But what would you recommend that I read by her? Because she's so up there. Anyway, that's what I've got. Happy Friday. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.